The Boston Celtics cannot pass up on this opportunity as the San Antonio Spurs just released the perfect now free agent for the Boston Celtics to strike on and some huge help into the front court. Welcome into Celtics Digest, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate hanging out with me here on the show. Man, we've got an interesting one for you here. This is something I did not expect. In fact, the guy who was just released by the San Antonio Spurs, we made a video about a week ago on a potential trade candidate. Well, now he's up for grabs for anybody. There is a little bit of stipulation behind him, but without further ado, let's get right into it. Shams Charania had the tweet. The San Antonio Spurs and forward Jeremy Sochan have agreed on his release to allow the 2023 All-Rookie team member to become a free agent, sources tell ESPN. Sochan is expected to decide among multiple interested teams. Now, it's fair to say Jeremy Sochan has not had a very good season here in the 2025-2026 year, but still, I think there is a lot of prowess for him. This season, though, 12.8 in the minutes per game with just 4.1 points per game, 2.6 rebounds per game, just 1 assist per game. And the field goal percentage and three-point percentage are actually decent at 47.5. You're not expecting a forward to take that many threes, and he still has a 25% shooting percentage from behind the arch. Really like what his intangibles are. And again, this guy obviously has struggled the past couple seasons. To me, it just sounds like a guy who's been waiting for a change of scenery. Now, of course, we don't know that for certain, but it really feels like he's going to pop off wherever he goes. Now, where do the Celtics come in on this? Well, they actually have been labeled as a top destination for Jeremy Sochan in this upcoming season. The Fadeaway World kind of released an article talking about the top 5 destinations for Sochan, and funny enough, they ranked the Celtics second. Nico Martinez has the report here. Number 2, Boston Celtics. The Celtics have been holding it down in Jayson Tatum's absence, but recent trades have left the team vulnerable in the front court without Al Horford or Kristaps Porziņģis to provide consistent production at the position. The Celtics are a prime candidate to consider someone like Sochan. I agree. I do. I think if you look at the stats and you understand what this guy has gone through in his NBA career, you can take kind of a little bit of solace in the fact that he's played in just 12.8 minutes per game this year as compared to 25 plus in every season prior. He's also only played in 28 games up until this point. There's kind of a lot of factors that go into that. Injuries, not really fitting with the coaching staff, just all of that. But in terms of his points per game, it was 11 points per game in both 2022, 2023, 23, 24, 24, and 25 until this season. Again, he's not playing as many minutes. He's not playing as many games. He's only getting 4.1 points. This is just the classic case of he's not fitting in with the team. He doesn't fit in with them anymore. And ultimately for the Celtics, if you understand that and think, okay, there's a very good player in there. And we know that the field goal percentage has always been fantastic. Last year, his field goal percentage was 53. I mean, that's freaking fantastic with 3-point percentage above 30 as well. It just seems like a slam dunk of a pickup. Now, of course, for the Boston Celtics, the question is, does he fit? And personally, I think he does. If we look at the depth chart here, in terms of forwards, the Celtics are at an interesting spot. Now, Sam Hauser, to me, is a fine power forward. I'm not trying to take away, but he is a sharpshooting three-point guy. That's what he is. The Celtics have been running the double big with Neemias Queta and Nikola Vucevic as of late. Well, if you get Jeremy Sochan, now he is somewhat similar to Sam Hauser in terms that he's not going to be this giant big guy to go out there, but he does have more of a power forward play style than what we've seen from Sam Hauser this season. And if you look at the shot chart from Mr. Sochan, obviously it's tough to look at this year because, well, it just has not been a good season. But you can see his paint percentage, fantastic at 62.5%. And having him alongside Vucevic and Neemias Queta, I think this can create for a very interesting rotational effort for the Boston Celtics. It really does, to me, seem like a good fit. And knowing the way the Celtics have been playing over the past couple of games, having Peyton Pritchard come off the bench, obviously sometimes running that double big, having Neemias Queta still being the starter over Vucevic, having Sochan in the mix is a very interesting kind of acquisition in all this. Now, of course, the question does come along, well, the Celtics just got under the tax bracket because of the trade for Tillman. So I think that it would take the Celtics a lot to say, we just traded away Minot and Tillman and saying, Okay, well, now we're going to go right back up above the tax bracket and sign Jeremy Sochan. So that's one little area where I think it could be a tough decision. But listen, the Eastern Conference is such an open field, and the Celtics are a really good team that could potentially return Jayson Tatum. It just is such a good fit. In terms of Nico Martinez of Fadeaway World, he continued on this article by saying this: without Tatum returning soon, they don't need him to score. Instead, he can become a defensive pest for them, anchoring the defense for the second unit. It would make the Celtics even more deadly, especially if they can help develop his game as they've done with so many other young players. I love the idea of signing Jeremy Sochan. I really, really do. I think it's a great one. I think the Celtics would, in some ways, fit very well for him. The questions that arise that I'm not going to say take it out, but definitely have to be answered is, one, Jayson Tatum, how close is he to returning? Because if he's close to returning, you don't want to give Sochan big money. I'm not saying you don't sign him, but you don't want to offer him up this big contract or whatever it might be, or money-wise for the rest of the season. Secondly, how are you going to use him? What's the proper manner? And you're going to go out there, and are you willing to go above that tax bracket? That's honestly probably the biggest question. The answer is, are you willing to go right back above that tax bracket that you just got below? To me, it's the Boston Celtics. The new owners care about the money for sure, but I think it's a little less stringent upon it, which, funny enough, is why I could also see them signing back Anthony Simons after this season all of a sudden. But I think that this is something they really, really should consider. That depth chart for the Celtics, it just would look so much better with having your power forward and small forward, instead of being Jaylen Brown, Hugo, Luka, and Sam, having it include Jeremy Sochan. Now, again, we've gotten great play out of guys like Jordan Walsh and Baylor Shireman as of late, so I think that there is some account to, we like our guys, we want them to continue to grow, we want those guys to progress because we're going to have them for however longer it might be than Jeremy Sochan. But I also see the other way of like, oh, Jeremy Sochan's going to help you out, and you fully believe you can go in here into the Eastern Conference and take out what in theory is the number one seed right now, the Detroit Pistons. You got to feel pretty good. You got to feel confident. And I think this is just a way where Brad Stevens kind of has to come down to the point of like, we got under the tax bracket. That was the plan. That was the goal. However, now we are second place in a wide open Eastern Conference with a way that we get Jayson Tatum back for the playoffs and can go soaring into the postseason, especially if you have Sochan. So it's an interesting one, but I want you to answer the question down in the comment section. Would you want the Celtics to sign Jeremy Sochan? S for sign, P for pass. I'm curious for your 2 cents. This is a guy that you would like the Celtics to have. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. I'm a sign. I am not as worried about the tax money. I understand that that's something that the Celtics might be worried about, but if he's a free agent, he wants to play for a contender, and he wants some place that he can go develop for even just the back half of the season, if that ends up what all that it is, Boston's the perfect place for him. He's going to play a decent amount. He's going to fit in. And again, we know what this guy is capable of. We saw the stats from a couple years ago. We know that he can average 11 points per game in most facets. And that's just something you like. Whereas, you compare him to some of the guys the Boston Celtics have, and it's an intriguing comparison, to say the least. So, obviously, we'll have to wait, have to see what exactly the Boston Celtics do. But you see here, Sam Hauser this year, 9.1 points. You get 11 points averaging back from him. All of a sudden, you're back to a very better spot. But I don't know. I think it's an interesting point of talking, but we'll see what happens. We appreciate you watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Peace out.